Hey everybody, Bill and Deb.
And Delilah.
Yeah. Delilah, she saw us setting up the camera, and if you've seen any of our lives before, when she sees us setting up the camera, all of a sudden she wants attention.
Yep.
And so, hey, maybe she just wants to be in the video. Is that what it is, Delilah? You just want to be in
Well,
the video?
she's been out roaming and it's been damp and wet.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another reason why we're shooting this inside today rather than outside. It's been rather damp and rainy down here in Florida for the last few days, and we've got a few more days to go, right?
Where is my sunshine? Yes.
Anyway, the topic of this video has to do with full-time living and has to do with camping in general, you know, in some ways. And there's two reasons why we decided to discuss this topic today. The first and foremost was we got a comment on one of our latest walkthrough videos that we uploaded here just a while back. One of the most successful ones, by the way, so far.
Yes.
And by the way, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and mention there are many, many more walkthrough videos to come. So please stay tuned. There will be many, many more that we shot during the Tiny House Adventures Rendezvous.
I don't even know that you know how many more.
Well, I don't know how many more, but I know there's a lot more.
I know.
Yeah. I don't even know exactly how many I did, but we've got several to go. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
Because I certainly don't want to trigger somebody and for them to come back and say, "But you said, Bill." But anyway, yeah, that's another story in itself. But anyway, this comment basically was, save yourself the trouble of going to all this trouble to do a conversion, buy an RV, whatever, because so many of them are just figuring out that once they get out there and do all this after they spend all the money that they don't like it and they are quitting, and then they referenced several different YouTube channels. We didn't go look at these YouTube channels because quite honestly, we don't care.
No, because we're not tired of it.
Yeah. But we did hear a while back, this is before all this started, we did hear a while back, we saw and let's call it clickbait, but we saw a clickbait thumbnail, and this guy, he was probably in his mid-40s, I would say, and he was messing with the sewer hose and it was obviously a fairly nice campground. And he was messing with the sewer hose. I think he had just got through unhooking it and he was getting ready to pack. And one of the first things out of his mouth was, he says, "This is not the way I remember camping." Because when I was young and we went camping as a family, the minute we got to the campground, I, meaning him, ran to the pool while my dad did all the setup and then of course when it was time to go, did all the takedown. And he, his attitude was, well, this is just too much for what you're doing. And, trying to be negative. And then here lately, there's been all kinds of videos, and here we are doing one ourselves, about supposedly people quitting full-time living, supposedly people giving up on camping because it's just too complicated. And then, of course, there's a lot of videos out there about, a ton of them here recently. One particular YouTube channel is focusing on problems that people are having with their RVs. And we kind of understand that,
Well, that's why we built instead of bought.
Exactly. But, sure, as one friend of ours put it.
Yes.
Remember our friend?
I do remember our friend.
He said,
it's not for wusses.
He said, camping and RVing is not for sissies. No. That's what he said. No. He said it's not for sissies. And
yes, there's a little more work involved. I mean, you have to be more concerned about water intake and disposal. You have to worry about trash disposal. There's so many things that you have to worry about that if you're in an apartment somewhere or a house, you don't have to worry about those things because you pay other people to worry about it for you.
You don't have to worry, if you have an RV that has a black tank. Now, we use a composting style dry toilet.
Yeah.
So we don't have to fret over the black tank thing.
Thank goodness.
Excuse me. But yeah, those things, and of course that's where the term stinky slinky comes from, And yeah, we understand all
and
that.
yes, you have to deal with that every, what, 3 or 4 days?
Well, it just all depends. But, you know, after you've done it for a while like we have, and we're going on we are past 4.5 years now.
We'll be 5 years in March.
My goodness, 5 years in March.
Unbelievable.
As of March the 1st. And, you know, of course, when we built this particular conversion that we have now, we built it to make things easier when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, we stay at a lot of campgrounds where there is no sewer at the site. So because of that, we didn't want to have to fret over trying to haul which we did for a while, you know, haul a blue boy, as people call it, you know, up to the dump station.
Well, that became work.
Yeah, yeah.
In some cases, it took Bill and I both because we was on an incline, and both of us had to pull that thing up the hill.
Yeah, sometimes because it's pretty heavy, you know, especially when you're in Arkansas and everything's all rocky and everything.
Because if you have a 30-gallon disposed tank, it's going to weigh close to what, 250, 300 pounds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, that's
so it's fun, you know, to drag it up a rocky hill. You know, if you're on a campsite that's on an incline like this, you know, and your sewer dump is towards the end of the trailer, and you've got to drag that thing up those rocks because the pad is just barely wide enough to fit the trailer.
And if you're just going out for a weekend here and there, it's probably not a big issue for you.
Yeah.
But when we were doing it and are doing it full time, it became an issue.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why we designed the way that we can actually pump off our tank into an auxiliary tank in the van.
What is that saying? Necessity breeds invention, or something like that.
Something like that.
It's like, okay, we're going to do something different.
and be honest with you, and we've mentioned this before, this was Deb's idea, you know, to come up with this. And she says, that's what I want, Bill. Now you handle it. Figure out how to
engineer it and make it happen.
So we did. I should have put that phone on Do Not Disturb. I hope nobody tries to call. But anyway, that's what we did there to solve that issue. Now, we have, you know, been staying at several campgrounds here recently that do have sewer at the site.
Well, we did for a while, and then we didn't for a while.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of goes back and forth.
Our last one we went to didn't.
Exactly.
We had to haul it.
But you know, hey, but we've got pretty much everything down to a science. You know, all this thing about getting ready to leave and all this thing about getting set up and everything, because we do it on a regular basis, we've got it down to a science. And we're definitely not going to let that portion of the experience get us down and make us decide to want to quit. You know,
my goal is to constantly come up with, okay, what is the least amount of work I can do and still have my home set up the way I want it.
Yeah.
And so that's the constant goal for both of us.
Yeah.
His is the van. How can the van be set up where we can constantly make it easy to pull out, set up, whatever we're doing?
Yeah. And, you know, then people want to complain about the cost of it, saying that, you know, there was one video, I didn't even bother to open it up and look at it, but the big thumbnail talked about you're not really saving money at all because when you consider this, and this. Well, we we got rid of everything, and the only expense we have is the fuel to get to where we're going, pretty much, and then the maintenance on our tow vehicle and the trailer. Since we built the trailer ourselves, maintenance is a snap. For one thing, we have very little stuff to maintain, and if we do have to replace, say, a water pump or something like that in the trailer, it's very, very easy to get to, and once I get my hands on a fresh water pump, I've got it changed out in 20 minutes, and we're up and running again.
Would it be inconvenient? Yes.
Yeah. Well, of course it would. But here again, this kind of life is not for sissies.
No. No.
Come on.
But the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
You know, and when we depending on fuel prices, when we figure out that, you know, we need to save on fuel, that we just stay longer at a particular campground before we move on.
And it depends on the campground.
And that depends on that too. But here again, let me stress this one more time, and we still get people asking about this when we talk about it. We stay mostly at Corps of Engineer campgrounds. These are federal campgrounds. And if you are 62 years old and older, let me say that again, the age where you can get the America the Beautiful Senior Pass is at 62 years old. The day you turn 62, you can apply for this card.
And actually make that your birthday present.
Yeah. It costs $80
for a lifetime.
For a lifetime membership. And what that gets you, let me say this again, and I'll say it slowly. You get all of your camping fees at Corps of Engineer campgrounds and federal parks, like U.S. forestry parks and places like that. You get camping fees at 50% off. At a Corps of Engineer campground where we stay, it averages about full price, averages somewhere between $24 and $28 a night.
Well, I think
full price.
I think with full hookups, we have paid as much as $30.
Okay, full price.
Let me say this slowly again. Discount.
Full price before discount.
That's the top of what we pay.
And let me say this slowly one more time. If the regular full price is $30, our price with the America the Beautiful Senior Pass is $15 a night.
Right.
Now this includes, then usually if you're paying, if the full price is $30 a night,
you got sewer usually.
Usually you have sewer. You'll have water, sewer, a choice of either 20 amp, 30 amp, or 50 amp service. So it covers pretty much all the bases on that. Now let me say that again: $15 a night, folks. $15 a night. So this thing about it costing so much to do this,
well, it can.
It can, if you go to resorts, and at these resorts, you're usually packed in like sardines, as most of you know. Now, granted, when you pull into these resorts that you're paying $80 a night for, or $130 a night, or whatever for, the pads are going to be pretty much level, so you don't have to worry about trying to level up your rig, except for maybe fore and aft, and that's it. You don't have to worry about trying to level it on the sides. And if you stay at a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer park, you're probably going to have to level it side by side to side.
Depends.
It all depends. But if you carry the proper equipment with you, and we like to call them Lego blocks, but it's those Camco stackable blocks. We can literally, because we carry in a wide assortment, you can get them in the square ones and the rectangular shaped ones, and they will fit together. They interchange, and we can actually determine how, and I've got to where I can read my level, and I know how many blocks I've got to put on one side or the other in order to get the trailer level side by side. And we simply just build a ramp, and then I pull the trailer forward a little bit. Deb slides the ramp up behind the wheels and lines it up, and then I just simply back the trailer right back. The whole process takes 10-15 minutes.
Not very long.
Yeah, 10-15 minutes, and we're level side to side. So, but you've got to be prepared for that stuff. You've got to be prepared for, if your water hookup is 50 feet away, don't complain to the park attendants because all you had was 25 feet of hose. Buy you some more hose, I'm sorry, I'm starting to rant.
The other thing was,
we were once park attendants. That's why we're familiar with this kind of stuff.
To stay away boredom.
Yeah.
I mean, one lady said that she just got bored.
Yeah. Well.
So we don't feel that way after almost 5 years. Yes, on crappy days, we come inside, we watch a movie. Bill has his system set up where he can play music. Mm-hmm. I can paint. I have my painting station set up right over here where, it's an easy breakdown setup, that type of thing. Or on nice days, if you're sitting outside, you get to meet a lot of nice people.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these folks that get on there and complain like that, or some of it is just so they can create some drama.
Yeah, evidently they're not meeting nice.
And get lots of views and make some money on YouTube. But they're obviously not getting out and taking advantage of the fact that there's so many nice people that you can meet.
In other words, you don't have to do the touristy thing and go constantly going somewhere and doing the tourist thing. Now, some things you might want to do, but you don't have to keep yourself occupied. Yeah. And we have our bicycles. We take bike rides.
Yeah, which, it's get our exercise that way.
We bike ride, we paint, kayak. We guitar, we watch movies.
We're getting ready to go kayaking here before too awful long.
If the weather ever straightens up.
Yeah, straighten up, Mr. Weather. So I don't know what to tell you. Are we going to quit? No.
Not in the foreseeable future.
Let me tell you something, folks. A few years ago, it hadn't been that long ago, I was near death twice. Twice a few years ago. And one of the worst ones was when I ended up with an infection at the base of my spine. And I literally could not walk, just moving, rolling over in bed was so painful I would almost faint from the pain. Finally, when we went into the hospital, I had to call an ambulance to come. Well, Deb called the ambulance to come and get me. They did an MRI. They discovered that I had a serious infection at the base of my spine. They shipped me to another hospital right quick where there was a surgeon there just in case I needed neurosurgery. But instead, what they did first, they put me on this table face down, and they had this machine that came down and had 2 needles on it and poked me at the base of my spine on either side of my spine, and they drew out how much fluid out of the base of my spine? 2 liters of fluid, folks. And they told us then if we had waited as much as 1 more week before we finally came in, that it's very, very possible that I could have died, but at least I would have ended up paralyzed from the waist down. I still took me how long? 2 months to get to where I could walk.
Oh, it was longer than that.
Longer than that?
That happened in March, and you were still in a wheelchair at your granddaughter's graduation in May.
This is true. This is true. I remember that now. When I did get to where I could start walking, I walked with a cane for several months after that. But the whole point that I'm trying to make with this is you don't know what's going to happen. And you know, that's why we are so firm believers in living life to the fullest and getting out and enjoying what we do.
Yes.
You know, enjoying life.
Yeah,
because, you know, I had no clue that something like this was going to happen. And it happened. And nobody could explain. They said, oh, it just happens sometimes. You know. But the whole point that I'm trying to make here is don't let some of these people on these YouTube channels discourage you if this is what you really think you want to do.
Right.
You know, whether it be just camping on a regular basis or going full time. But when you go full time, you will learn things as you go. We knew absolutely nothing. March the 1st, almost 5 years ago, when we went out and set up our trailer for the very first time. We did not
We just knew that we wanted to do it.
Yeah. And from that point forward, instead of saying, oh, it's too hard, I can't do it, it's too hard.
We just figured out a way to make it easier.
We figured out how to make it work.
Let's make it easier.
Because we were determined that this is what we wanted to do.
Exactly.
And, you know, then we developed the systems that makes it easier for us to get set up.
And we have met the nicest people in our journey.
And do we ever get bored?
No. There are times we just want to go off by ourselves.
There's times we want to be by ourselves, but fortunately, because of, partially because of our YouTube channel, the other part of it is because we do like to meet people, and of course our trailer is a conversation
starter.
Starter right there. But we have met so many wonderful people in Campgrounds to the point now that we have a tribe that is developing, and all we have to do is put out a few emails or texts to people in the tribe and say we're going to be at such and such date, anybody want to join us? And we always have takers. We are very, very seldom alone, you know, and partially because of this network that we have developed. You can develop the same network.
Yes.
You know, but you're not going to develop the network hiding in your RV when you go out for the weekend or 2 weeks or whatever. You're not going to develop that network. It ain't going to happen, you know. And then you may get to, well, this is just too much work for no more benefit than I get out of it.
Yeah.
So
it's just a matter of different personalities, I suppose.
Right. And we're not alone at the moment. We're not going to divulge where we're at or anything out of respect for the folks that we're with at the time, but we're not alone. We have friends nearby with us. And when we leave here, we'll have friends where we're going, won't we? And we have other people to meet while we're in Florida as well. So you can build this same kind of network. You know,
yes,
find
and it's
people.
priceless. It truly is priceless. Because when we had a sticks and bricks, did we know our neighbors? No, we'd say good morning, but I couldn't tell you their names.
Right. Yeah. And and I'll say this before we go. Well, there's two things I want to say before we go. One thing is I'm 71 years old, and although I'm not allowed to divulge Deb's age, let's just put it this way: she's 1 year younger than me.
Stop it! No, you are incorrect. My oldest child
is
39.
Oh no, your oldest child is not 39.
Yes, she is.
We had grandchildren already by the time we were that age.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I can tell you right now that I'm going to be in big trouble after this is over.
Yes, you are.
And one more thing. Wherever we are, wherever we go, when we step inside here, we are
home.
Yes, we're home. This is our home. And that is one of the most gratifying things.
Oh, it's amazing for us.
About the whole thing.
Out there, out through that door, is a whole new thing.
Right.
But once we step inside, it's all home.
But when we step out and we join our friends and we all get together and say, hey, who wants to cook this? Who wants to cook that? And we put together and or we'll say, hey, there's this new restaurant we want to go try. What do you think? And it doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, but there are ways that you can get out there and enjoy life, but don't get so discouraged by what the
doomsdayers.
What the doomsdayers,
the doom and gloom.
Now, here again, let's pose the question one more time and answer it one more time. Is camping or full-time RVing, quote unquote full-time RVing, for everyone? No, it's not. It's not. No. But for those of you that give it a chance and try to learn, because you will have rough days. We're not going to say
it's all a learning experience, believe me.
We have had rough days.
Yes.
But if you learn from that and then try to take steps so that you don't have to deal with that particular situation again. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is, only one time did we ever talk about a rough day that we had, and that was a day a few years ago when we had our water pump go out on the van.
Oh, when we had the van break down, and then we got lost, and then we had a flat tire, and it was raining.
But we're not going to get on here and cry about every time we have a rough day.
No.
So anyway, that's, take this however you want to take it. But that's our take on it.
That's our take on it.
If this is what you really want to do, don't let the doomsdayers or the naysayers discourage you if this is truly what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's about it.
I think we've ranted long enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. And speaking of this, you know exactly what we're going to say. We are not camping.
We are living.
Y'all get out there and do some living, and we will see you again. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.